Welcome dear students. Today we will discuss about confectionery, raw materials and products. The main objectives of today's deliberation are to understand the concept of sugar confectionery, to know about the commercially available types of sugars, to understand the various chemical reactions of sugar confections, to understand the process of industrial aspect on sugar confectionery manufacture, and lastly, the contaminants and coloring agents in confectionery. Confectionery, also called sweets or candy, is a sweet food. Sugar confectionery includes sweets, candied nuts, chocolates, chewing gum and bubble gum, sweetmeats, pastillages and other confections made primarily of sugar. The term confectionery varies in different countries. In Britain, Ireland and some Commonwealth countries, sweets or sweeties, candy in United States and Canada, and lollies in Australia and New Zealand are used commonly for the most common varieties of sugar confectionery. Nutritionally, confections are low in micronutrients and protein but high in calories. Most of the sugar confections are considered empty calories. Excessive consumption of confectionery has been associated with increased incidences of type 2 diabetes, obesity and tooth decay. Sucrose is produced in vast quantities throughout the world, and it is the basic ingredient for classical sugar confectionery. Indeed, the whole confectionery industry has been built around the physico-chemical properties of sucrose and their modification by other traditional sweeteners. Sugar occurs widely in the vegetable world, in the roots and stems of grasses and root vegetables, and in the sap of many trees. It also appears in the juices of many fruits. Commercially, however, it is extracted from sugar cane, which is grown in tropical areas, and from sugar beet, which is grown in temperate climates. World sugar production is upwards of 90 million tons a year, out of which roughly 60% is from cane and 40% from beet. This table illustrates the principal sugar constituents present in the commercial glucose syrup, and later the processes used for the manufacture of sugar confectionery. Now let's discuss the different types of commercially available sugars. There are various types of sugars available in the market, which include granulated, castor, icing, liquid sugars, brown sugars, molasses and microcrystalline sugars. Granulated sugars are available in several grades, including granulated, industrial granulated, cubes and nibs. Granulated is the white sugar sold industrially and domestically. It constitutes the highest proportion of total production of granulated sugar. Industrial granulated has a slight off-white color and is used where white sugar is not required, for example, in the manufacture of toffee, fudge and chocolate. Cubes are usually produced by moistening granulated sugar with 1% water, pressing into cubes and drying. Nibs are agglomerates of granulated sugar crystals made by dampening the sugar and drying into thick mass. The product is sieved to various sizes. Second category is of castor sugar. It is the white sugar with small crystal size for domestic and industrial use. It is produced either by boiling in vacuum pans or milled from granulated sugar. Third category is of icing sugar. It is produced by double milling granulated sugar to fine crystals. Usually an insoluble anti-caking agent is added to it. This type is used mainly for bakery. Fourth category is of liquid sugars. It is the granulated sugar dissolved in distilled water to produce the highest quality liquid sugars. In the confectionery industry, the decolorized liquor from refining process is used instead of evaporating to produce granulated sugar. Lower grade syrups are used to provide color and flavor. The total solids ranges between 66 to 84%. Fifth category is of brown sugars. This table illustrates the composition of brown sugars that exhibits a typical composition of a raw demerara sugar and the three types of refinery brown sugars. The non-sugar from the original cane are responsible for the flavor. Prolonged storage in a low relative humidity leads to slow evaporation of the water, resulting in the hard sugar. Sixth category is of molasses. Cane refinery produces approximately 1 million tons of molasses a year and 600 to 800 tons of molasses per week, from which no more sugar can be extracted. Some part of it is used for human consumption, but the bulk goes to cattle food and to the fermentation industries, for example alcohol and citric acid. Treacle is clarified molasses and can be mixed with the higher purity syrups to mellow the taste. Seventh category is of microcrystalline sugars. For this form, sugar syrup is evaporated to around 95% solids and then subjected to intense shear. The sugar crystallizes instantly as very fine crystals of the size of 5 to 20 micrometers, then dried, milled and sieved to final products. Now, the types of sugars based on composition. Detailed methods of analysis for sugars is given in the International Commission for Uniform Methods of Sugar Analysis, that is ICU-MSA. Based on composition, there are four types of sugars, that is white sugars, brown sugars, liquid sugars and treacle and molasses. Now let's discuss them one by one. Firstly, white sugars. This table exhibits the composition of white sugars. However, refined white sugar is probably the purest food known, containing over 99.95% sucrose on the dry basis. The composition varies a little between refiners, where color is measured in international units. Secondly, brown sugars. It's either an unrefined or partially refined soft sugar consisting of sugar crystals with some residual molasses content, that is natural brown sugar, or it is produced by addition of molasses to refined white sugar, that is commercially brown sugar. Thirdly, liquid sugars. The range of liquid sugars available is extensive. These are decolorized liquor from the refinery before evaporation in the vacuum pans. It's pure enough to be used for most confectionery purposes. Other liquid sugars are less pure and would be suitable where color etc. is not of prime importance. There are wide ranges of blended syrups available, which can be tailor-made to a confectioner's requirements. In addition, refinery syrups of varying flavor levels can be added, imparting a natural flavor to the end product. Lastly, we have treacle and molasses. Beet molasses is rarely used in confectionery due to its unpleasant flavor. This table illustrates the flavor of cane molasses that is very strong and is often mellowed by adding higher grade refinery syrups. When this is done, the products are usually called treacle. Now let's discuss the chemical reactions of sugar confections. Chemically, two types of reactions take place in sugar confectionery. They are primary and secondary. Primary reactions include caramelization. Cane or beet sugar, that is sucrose, deteriorates on heating to form colored breakdown products, and the process is known as caramelization. The resultant product is 5-hydroxymethylfurfural. Inversion. The second important reaction is the breakdown of sucrose into simpler sugars. This process is known as inversion. Invert sugar is a mixture of two simpler sugars, that is dextrose and fructose. This reaction is induced deliberately to get desirable characteristics in a sweet meal. Maillard reaction. The third chemical reaction encountered during the manufacture of sweetmeats is the Maillard reaction. This takes place between amino acids, proteins and peptides and the reducing groups in sugars. The products of this reaction are brown condensation pigments known as melanoidins, which contribute flavor, color and texture. It was Maillard who first described the reaction in 1912. The reaction stimulates the development of flavor and the texture. Crystallization. The main effect, which involves a change of the state during the production of sugar confectionery, is transformation of ingredients held in highly saturated syrup to the crystalline form. Presence of other ingredients such as other sugars and gelling agents cause distortion in the crystalline form of sucrose. Polymorphism. Polymorphism is the ability of a material to exist in two or more crystal forms. Sugar boiling remains stable provided sufficient water is removed during manufacture and the product has been protectively packed to prevent the ingress of water. Unfortunately, sugar confections tend to pick up moisture from the atmosphere and this water is deposited on the surface of the sweet. The deposited water leaches sugar from the confection. Water in the syrup will evaporate as the external temperature conditions change and the syrup crystallizes. The crystal grain, which occurs, induces a layer by layer change of the state in the main body of the confection, moving from the stable amorphous state to the crystalline state. Starch. The starch molecule is composed of amylose and amylopectin fraction. In the process of starch gelatinization, the starch swells in water during heating. The temperature at which this process takes place is usually referred to as gelatinization point. The presence of sugars inhibits the process of gelatinization. Prolonged heating will also destroy the gel by causing disruption of the structure, resulting in leaching from the swollen granules into the liquid fraction, affecting the gel forming capability. The second category is of secondary reactions. These include other chemical reactions occurring during sweet manufacture which involve the breakdown of protein in gelling and in whipping agents such as egg albumin. These usually occur during the heating and are under acidic conditions. Now let us discuss the industrial aspect on sugar confectionery manufacture. The successful manufacture of sugar confectionery products is dependent on a limited but key group of physical and chemical changes which influence recipe composition and methods of production. The compositional effects include presence of carbohydrates or sugars. The composition of recipes for the manufacture of sugar confections is based on the composition of raw ingredients, that is carbohydrates or sugars, fats and thickeners and stabilizers. Among the sugars they are boiled sweets, caramel toffee and fudge, gums and jellies, chewing gum and medicated sugar confectionery. Further we will discuss the boiled sweets. Technically, the term boiled sweet is applicable to mixtures of sucrose and glucose syrup which are cooked to such a high temperature that the cooked mass becomes clearly marked by the characteristics like non-crystalline, clear and glassy appearance, an extremely low amount of residual moisture, that is 1 to 3%, with an equilibrium relative humidity, that is ERH, below 30%, which can result in a marked tendency to absorb humidity from the atmosphere. After cooking, the two main components, sucrose and glucose syrup, are accompanied by a variable amount of invert sugar. The result of a partial inversion of sucrose which takes place during the cooking process. Commercially, they are also called high boiled sweets, hard candies, drops, and are represented by three general types, that is plain hard candy. This is the generic name for an infinite number of a large variety of candy which is produced in a wide range of shapes and sizes, flavors and colors as well as textures. They can be classified into four main groups: acidified hard candies or fruit drops, non-acidified hard candies like peppermint drops, cough drops, etc., hard milk caramels, hard candies with added value ingredients such as honey, honey drops, honeycomb, malt extract, malted hard candy, peanut, peanut brittle. Filled boiled sweets. These are composed of a clear, pulled, stripped or grained jacket enclosing a center which can be liquid, semi-liquid, pasty or powdery. The main filling types are simple sugar glucose syrup filling flavored with natural, nature identical or artificial flavor. Fruit filling, which besides sugar and glucose syrup contains fruit pulp or jam. Alcohol filling, fat filling based on chocolate, hazelnut or almond paste, peanut butter, etc. Powdery filling like sharbat filling, liquor ice filling, etc. Sugarless boiled sweets. Clear, pulled or grained sugarless boiled sweets, plain or filled, are characterized by the fact that they are composed of one or a combination of polyhydric alcohols. The polyols used include sorbitol, mannitol and xylitol, that's the first generation polyols, maltitol, lactitol and isomaltitol, that is the second generation polyols. It's important to note, in most countries their use is subject to legal restriction. In compliance with legal status, sugarless candies can be classified in three main categories: hard candies for diabetics, tooth-friendly hard candies, low-calorie hard candies. Next category is of lollipops. Basically, there are three types of lollipops based on preparation techniques, that is, depositing process by using special molds, molding or stamping techniques including the steps like cutting or a well-tempered sugar rope, free fall of the cut pieces into a mold, and stamping the cut pieces in a rotating disc, molding or stamping process. Further, we have caramel toffee and fudge. Originally, toffee did not contain milk and were high-boiled products containing brown sugar, glucose syrup or invert sugar and fats, usually butter. These products all have moisture levels below 5%. The introduction of milk into toffees led to the production of higher moisture products with up to 8 or 9% water content, and for some of these products the name caramel was used. Toffees or caramels can be deliberately made to crystallize or grain and are then known as soft toffees or grained caramels. These products are very similar in eating texture to some fudges but are made by the different process. The name fudge is used for a wide range of products ranging from short crumbly texture to quite plastic masses, for which names like Jersey cream or Italian creams are sometimes used. In all these products, the sugar crystal is developed during the manufacturing process and the structure has stabilized before the product is packed. Other products of this list are gums and jellies. Hydrocolloid sweets, gums and jellies now represent about half of the sugar confection sold, and their popularity continues to grow. Examples include hard, soft and foamed gums, laces, tubes and corrugated strips, jujubes, fruit leathers, lemon slices, pastils, Turkish delight, gummy bears, jelly babies, etc. Gums and jellies are also used in other confections. For example, reformed fruit pieces or pectin jellies in cereal cluster confectionery. Selection of the hydrocolloid system enables considerable textural modification. Plant gums like agar, bacterial gums like xanthan gums and pectin, and animal gums like gelatin are used as hydrocolloids. The sweets may be shaped by various molding techniques, from fluid liquor, extrusion from semi-plastic mass, cutting from preformed slabs, etc. Inclusions such as fruit pieces or liquid centers can be accommodated. Coatings such as sugar sanding, nonpareils, crystallization, waxing or oiling, soft panning and chocolate are common. In addition, multi-layering with, for example, fudge, mallow, nougat or toffee makes this a most diverse range. Next we have chewing gums. Chewing gum is used for sustained release of actives. Sugarless formulations assist tooth and gum protection, re-enameling and plaque reduction. Zinc salts in buccal cavity contact for cold protection and nicotine in smoking reduction therapy are patented. In gum actives, incorporation and encapsulation are restrictive. Sugarless gums usually require much more careful handling, and the proportioning of crystallizing and anti-crystallizing phase ingredients is critical. These gums usually require a greater quantity of gum base and have different textural and elasticity properties during forming. The addition of actives is performed in a similar way to that used in regular sugared gums. Teeth whitening, gum protection and plaque claims are made with patented usage of urea and other compounds. The latest technology uses anhydrous gum formulations in which plasticity and softness are assured for much longer shelf life periods than was previously possible. Now let's discuss the medicated sugar confectionery. Medicated sugar confectionery encompasses formulations mainly for symptomatic relief of minor throat irritations, coughs, colds, respiratory tract congestions and allergies. Some stronger actives have other specific uses, and herbal extracts, vitamins, food supplements and antacids are also incorporated. Medicated sugar confectionery has evolved from the original tableting and panning techniques. The most common forms of medicated sugar confectionery are manufactured in the high boiled sugar format, followed by the vegetable gums, lozenges and sugarless product varieties. Fats are also important in manufacture of sweets. One of the commonest fats in use in the manufacture of sweets is hydrogenated palm kernel oil, and is relatively simple in chemical structural terms. Most sugar confectionery fats are non-lauric in origin. Their brittleness, hardness and flavor are related to their types of fatty acids, that is saturated or unsaturated. Fats are used to improve texture and to lubricate the product to achieve better chewing characteristics. Further, the thickeners and stabilizers used in sweets include gelatin, agar-agar, pectin, starch and gums. Most can be modified chemically or extracted preferentially to obtain materials with specific properties. The use of these materials improves resistance to water attack from atmospheric deposition and resistance to graining by inhibiting crystallization. For example, pectin contains a higher number of galacturonic acid units in the form of methyl esters. Thus, rapid set pectins are likely to have esterification levels of 75%, whilst slow set pectins are only 50% esterified. Next, the presence of proteins is also inevitable in a recipe. It can give rise to one of the major chemical reactions which takes place during the production of sugar confectionery and chocolate and has a profound influence on the quality of the product. Proteins provide body strength. This body strength is necessary to prevent the deformation of the piece, as most sugar confections containing milk solids are relatively high in water content. In addition to these, we will talk about the alternate or low calorie sweeteners. These are the sugars used in confectionery industries apart from those mentioned earlier. The list includes polydextrose. Polydextrose is a new ingredient available to the confectioner which has a low calorie content. It's a polymer of dextrose with sorbitol and an acid. The ingredient is hygroscopic in character and has a viscosity which is greater than sucrose. Sorbitol, xylitol and mannitol are commercially available for use in recipes for sweet products. These are not sugars in the conventional sense, but polyhydric alcohols, more usually known as sugar alcohols. These materials are promoted for their role in inhibiting change during storage or as a low-calorie replacement for sucrose or for their value in minimizing tooth decay when compared to conventional sugars. Lactose hydrolysates is the careful choice of processing conditions for the selective hydrolysis of lactose, a sugar present in milk products, and for this process obtained from whey, produces lactose hydrolysates. These hydrolysates are high in two simpler sugars, namely galactose and dextrose. A typical enzyme used to achieve hydrolysis is beta-galactosidase. Intense sweeteners such as saccharin, aspartame and S-sulfame potassium has found little adoption in the sweet industry. This is because most confectionery products require a high mass viscosity to assist in processing and to gain consumer acceptance for their texture. Last but not least, it is important to have knowledge about contaminants and coloring agents in confectionery. Contaminants and coloring agents in confectionery can be particularly harmful to children. Therefore, confectionery contaminants such as high levels of lead have been restricted to 1 parts per million in many countries. Candy colorants, particularly yellow colorants such as tartrazine, quinoline yellow and sunset yellow FCF do have many restrictions around the world. Tartrazine can cause allergic and asthmatic reactions and was once banned in Austria, Germany and Norway. Some countries such as the United Kingdom have asked the food industry to phase out the use of these colorants, especially for products marketed to children. Sugar confections are usually eaten as snack food. This includes sugar candies, chocolates, candied fruits and nuts, chewing gum and sometimes ice cream. Both bakers and sugar confectioners are used to offer hospitality to guests. This was all about today's deliberation. Hope you have understood it well. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.